Hey, monologue time. All right. So after Jeff Flake's anti-Trump speech, the press responded just how you'd expect, as impeachment sheep.
If he is dangerous to democracy, as you say, should he be removed from office?
Well, there is a way that Congress can change this. Do you think Congress should be pursuing every avenue to get President Trump out of office?
Senator, is there a difference in your mind between a president who, and these are your words, undermines our democratic ideals and has a flagrant disregard for the truth and decency, and a president who is unfit to hold the office?
Are words enough, though, Senator? What should you and your colleagues be doing?
It's positively Pavlovian. But you can't blame the media for asking that question. Flake pretty much demanded a revolt against Trump. Yet when asked, Flake flakes.
I don't think any of those remedies are justified.
No, I don't want to go down that road. I don't think some of the remedies that are being talked about, impeachment, high crimes and misdemeanors, I don't think that applies.
Well, that's backtracking. So why start what you can't finish? Maybe because it was baloney to begin with. Because if Flake really thought democracy was under attack, why wouldn't he stay and fight? Imagine if Hillary were in office. Would a Republican senator say, she's harming our country, therefore I'm retiring? Doesn't make any sense. Trump may not be your choice, but Flake's exit seems more about losing a future election than feuding with the president. His speech was high drama that gets pats on the head from his cool new friends in the media. Flake basically went for a short-term sugar high. Sure, that deep-fried Twinkie is initially pleasing at the street fair, but you'll regret it. And you saw that in Flake's exit interviews. So like a poodle, he took his moment to get his back scratched by the Dems and a belly rub from the media, the validation, a nice doggy treat. But it was cheap and it was damaging to his body and the body politic. Yet as he bails, he still claims the high ground. No, if you're leaving because you know you can't win, just go quietly. This stand isn't brave, it's petulance, scorched earth bravado as you go to your room and slam the door. Now, opposing Donald Trump, it's a real option for anyone in honest government, but hit-and-run guerrilla tactics only work when you stay in the battle. This is the teacher's pet who sticks his tongue out at you, then hides behind the teacher. It's the courage of a spectator. True, there's been nothing like Donald Trump in tone or tenor among Republicans, but there's always been rough rhetoric from the left. This is new turf for us. Too bad Jeff flaked. That was a play on words, Kimberly.
It pleased me.
It was. Did it please you?
Very much so.
Excellent.
Can you tell by the look on my face?
I can never tell when you're happy or sad. It's why we have issues.
Okay.
So this guy, Jeff Flake, if it's his real name, I'm not sure, he essentially said the enemy to democracy is Trump. So why wouldn't the media say impeach?
It made absolutely no sense because I'm saying, okay, listen, what's he going to say about this? Because he's backing down. Come out with some great statement as to why it is that you're moving on and you're not going to seek re-election. And instead, he does this whole thing where he essentially shames himself by saying, if you think there's something wrong and you don't speak up, then you're complicit and you're part of the problem.
Right.
So he's not only going to just like slip away into the night, he had a chance to say something, he said that, and he's leaving.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Not a good career move. Wasn't inspirational.
Jesse, I want to play this. So this is from a show called Morning Joe. I've never heard of it.
Tell me more about it.
Well, I think it's a medical affliction.
Great band.
But on there, Jeff Flake was on there, and he had to say this.
The bottom line is if I were to run a campaign that I could be proud of and where I didn't have to cozy up to the president and his positions or his behavior, I could not win in a Republican primary. That's the bottom line. It's not that you have to just be with the president on policy. You can't question his behavior and still be a Republican in good standing, apparently, in a Republican primary.
Do you think he's honest in the sense that he couldn't win?
Yeah.
But isn't he being dishonest by saying you can't question Trump? Didn't one of the people that Trump backed lose just recently in a primary?
Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall and he bailed. And that was the most honest thing I think he said the entire little apology tour, or whatever you want to call it. If you're a Republican in D.C., the fastest way to media stardom is to attack another Republican.
Exactly.
Ask John McCain. But they get used and abused. I mean, he's just another little item on the assembly line that the media comes, picks up, and throws at the president. They've been wanting to impeach this guy from the jump. First, it was about collusion, then it was about obstruction, then he was mentally unfit, and now they just don't like his character.
Right.
So they want him to get out of there. The line of questioning shows their hand. Remember Scott McClellan, the press secretary for W, and total traitor, went out, wrote a hit piece book, did the media book tour, then was totally discarded, had no friends on the left, had no friends on the right. Same thing's happening to Flake. He's the flavor of the month. But if Ted Cruz came out, they'd do the same thing. He'd be on every single Sunday show, all these people in the green room. Hey, Ted, you know, lying Ted, that was really mean. Really wish you won the primary. It's total phoniness. And again, that was the smartest thing I think Flake said. He was going down.
He knew he was going to get smoked. So
It's a strange new respect award. The American Spectator came up with that. Like, if you agree with your adversaries, they will then become your friend. Juan, can I play? This is Donald Trump responding to Jeff Flake. We have that on tape for you at home.
His poll numbers in Arizona are so low that he couldn't win. And I don't blame him for leaving. I think he did the right thing for himself. The first time I saw him on television, I had not really been, nobody knew me in terms of politics. But the first time I saw him on television, I said, I assume he's a Democrat. He's done terribly for the great people of Arizona, a state that likes Donald Trump very much, as even you will admit. And he would have never won. So he did the smart thing for himself. This way he can get out somewhat gracefully.
You know, Juan, why wouldn't, you can respond to that, but also why wouldn't Jeff Flake run as an independent or something like that, or run as a Democrat? Why wouldn't he?
I don't think that he would be welcomed in the Democratic Party. You know, Jeff Flake, for those of you who haven't followed him, is a real principled conservative who voted with Donald Trump, I think they say 90% of the time.
Right.
But he is discomforted by Trump's behavior, Trump's anger, and I think, and this is the point I'd make to you, Greg, he feels at the moment the Republican Party has become, I think I'm using his language here, the party of anger, resentment, and grievance, rather than the party of principle.
We learned that from the Dems.
Well, I don't know. You always like to throw back at the Dems, but I think that there is such a fight going on among Republicans at this moment that it's very interesting. Is the Republican Party the party of Trump? Do you just have to be loyal to Trump and it's like a cult of personality? Or can you hold to what was previously conservative principle in terms of free markets, low taxes, pro-immigration, and the like? You know?
There's a lot, Dana, under President Obama, another cult of personality. There were conservative Democrats that still remained as Democrats, even though they disagreed, perhaps, with a lot of what President Obama did.
Or even if you go back to Bill Clinton and during all of that stuff, the Democrats pretty much all hung together. But everything's different now. And we're, like, the whole thing, parties evolve and they change. And I think that if you watch what President Trump did today, asked several times, he actually didn't really take the bait to counterpunch even more to keep this thing going. He said that he made the right decision for himself. That way he can exit gracefully. And I feel like that even President Trump and Sarah Sanders did this last week. They basically let it go. And I think if they want to continue to be more successful about not just uniting the party, but getting people to accept, ignoring the words, and just looking at what he does, then they have to also, I think that they've realized this, maybe accept that the disposition of the president is uncomfortable for some people, and they have to let him say that, as long as then they are looking at what they do and not just what they say. I mean, there seems to be no give.
Right.
Okay, and I think that's what he was saying. But also, how many people do you know that you work with over the years that complain every day about their job?
Right.
Some of them are at this table.
And you just think, why don't you leave then? Why don't you quit? That's actually what Flake did. He decided, I think that I would have declined the additional media opportunities. I think I would have let the speech stand and just basically sit alone at the lunch table for the next year and a half. And not do the rest of the media interviews, because I agree that won't last very long.
You're supposed to be a nice person, and now I have to defend Greg Gutfeld?
No, I'm not talking about him.
Oh, you're not talking about somebody who complains about his job.
By the way, the
I don't complain about my job.
No, but you know those people that complain
about
all the
life
time.
and everything in general, your health conditions, your stomach.
I complain in order to make this place a better place.
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, you weren't?
You know people that are like that, though.
Oh,
they complain every day, and you think, well, why don't you get a new job then? Why don't you seek something else out?
People that send crazy reply all emails.
Is that me? Is that me? How soon do you think Flake is going to be an MSNBC contributor or CNN contributor?
I think he's going to go back to Arizona and be a think tank guy.
Think tank guy?
I mean, I don't know that, but I'm assuming.
Think tank guy. There's a weird superhero. Think tank guy. That's a really boring superhero.
Great Halloween costume.
All right.